Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. Happy holidays. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and joyful holiday filled with love, laughter, and a good glass of wine. This week, we're throwing it back to one of our favorite episodes, originally aired in March. It's the perfect chance to get to know us better. Wendy, Kelly, and Lori. Cheers to you all, and thank you for being a part of our wine-loving show.
Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Lori.
So, how was your week?
My week was good.
Yeah.
You know, Joe got called back for a third tryout for this team.
I didn't
for
even
this
know they
basketball
had
team.
3 tryouts. Wow.
I didn't either.
Well,
We didn't hear. I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make the team. And then they called for a third tryout. But when he got there, the kid who made that last basket for Manasquan, Griffin, was also there.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So I hope he made it, but we'll see.
Oh,
But I thought that was pretty cool because
That's
you know,
very cool.
Keep
Yeah.
our fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
All right. We got some would you rathers. Would you rather live in a world where there is no crime or no privacy? I'd rather go with no crime.
I know, me too. And I'm wondering, like, why would anybody pick no privacy?
I'm thinking no crime also.
I don't know.
Because they're a criminal.
Good point, Wendy.
Maybe somebody reads that and says, "Oh, does that mean like everyone can see in my bedroom when I'm stripping my husband?"
Oh.
Maybe, hey, maybe that's no privacy. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you go to the bathroom, there's no wall between you and the outside. I don't know.
How do you come up with these?
I know.
Hey, there's caveats.
I don't even know why
You chose them.
I know.
All right.
I don't
right.
understand it.
Would you rather be the center of attention or go unnoticed? I'd rather go unnoticed.
Me too.
Unnoticed. I don't need to be the center of attention.
Me neither.
I'm the center of attention in my own mind, so it doesn't matter.
That's all that matters.
That's right.
I actually like to kind of hide in my house.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
poof.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Under the radar.
Would you rather have your favorite musician give you a private concert or have them over for dinner? Give you a private concert.
See, I'd rather have them over for dinner.
But it's a musician.
I
Okay,
know,
but
then
she
I can
wants to have
ask them
conversation.
questions and
She wants to have a conversation
find out
with
about
them, interact with them.
I just want
And I don't even know who I would like. I don't even know who my favorite musician is.
Like
I don't even know who I would ask. I guess the one I want to know shit about.
Well, who is that?
I don't know.
I would think that you would have a musician over so you could hear them play.
No, you could turn on the radio.
It's different than
Yeah,
live.
no, I
Come
know,
on.
Yeah.
I would want to have them over for dinner too.
Yeah, I would
And
too.
I would pick, if it was for me, I would pick Celine Dion
Mm-hmm.
or Adele.
Yeah, Adele's a good one.
And if I was doing it for Bill, it would be Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah,
There
for
you go.
sure.
And Bill would have to cook because,
Yes.
either way, it's
Either
not going to
way.
be good if I'm doing it.
It's so funny because I can't think for myself, but I could think for Eric. Like it would be like Bradley from Sublime, but he passed away.
Well, that's not going to
Or
work.
it would be Kurt Cobain, and he passed
He said,
away.
why did I would have picked Michael Jackson for me, but he's dead too.
Right.
You got to
like,
pick
that's
people
a-
who are alive.
I know. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Maybe we could work something out with the ghosts.
I would like to sit down with Pink.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so
I would
Pink.
sit down with Pink for
There you go.
sure. And I do love her. So
So who do you want to play music for you? Because you don't want to eat with them.
Well, I'll eat with them. I don't give a shit.
No,
but I was
no,
just
but
saying,
we're just
somebody
saying
who's a
you-
musician,
yeah.
you'd
So
want to
who
listen.
would you like to give you a
I
private
have no
concert?
freaking idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
don't know.
Lori. Okay, next one. All right.
Okay. Would you rather end your day eating a raw onion or 5 cloves of garlic? That's a tough one.
Garlic.
I got to be honest.
I mean,
with
I
you.
can roast them. They don't have to be raw. Roasted garlic. Oof. Yeah.
Again, I had this conversation with Andrew and Tess last night, and Tess and I both said garlic because of the health benefits.
Yeah, and you can roast them. Do you know how good roasted
Oh,
garlic is?
You don't got to tell me.
Yeah. And that raw onion, that shit'll linger.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, I could do both.
No.
They're both is instant and everlasting indigestion.
For sure,
So,
but
So neither for you? Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
that's exactly it.
Okay.
Would you rather have a medieval house or a modern house?
Modern.
Modern. Yeah.
You too, huh?
Yeah,
I thought.
yeah,
See,
me
I
too.
thought you would go medieval.
Yeah, well,
That's why I picked that question.
oh, there you go. I mean, I like that, but
To live in.
to live
You'd rather
in.
have a modern.
Yeah.
house.
yeah.
Okay.
When I think of medieval, I think of like dark and like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're
gloomy.
living so
right.
if
Isn't
you
that
would,
what you think of?
well,
Like
you would,
castle.
if you're gonna live in a castle.
Yeah.
I mean-
in like the 1500s.
right.
That's
yeah, no,
that's
no,
the deal.
that's too cold.
It does seem cold.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could have a moat. But you could get a moat in a modern house. I want a moat.
I'd like a moat.
I'd be
My
happy.
doorbell rang a lot today, and I
Did
was
it?
working from home. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'd be happy just with a pond. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what. I'd be happy with like a little small fountain in my backyard at this point. In my life. How about that?
Just some kind of
Just-
water
Just
feature.
a
you're
water
looking
feature.
For.
Yeah,
I have a fountain in my backyard.
I know you do.
That little elephant.
I love that.
That's cute.
I love that one. All right, what are we even talking? Oh,
Oh, you didn't look at
okay.
this?
No. Okay, so this. Is
So
what we're
I
talking
thought
about.
that maybe we'd talk about the evolution of ourselves.
Yeah, that sounds
And
good.
and we've covered when we were kids. We
Yeah.
love talking about Gen X issues because it's fun and we're all part of it. But this is like, like when you were single before you met your person and
Yeah.
got married, all the way to now. So these were the stages I came up with.
yeah, I
How
like
clever
it.
you are.
So what was your life like when you were single before I say before you got married, but before you met before you met Jamie, before you met Bill, before I met Eric?
what was
What
life
was your life like?
So,
we're gonna do like in your 20s kind of
Yeah.
a deal.
well, whenever it was
Like
before.
I was 24 when I started dating Eric. So I'll say my early 20s. So I dated somebody for 7 years. We were engaged. We broke up when I was 21. Done. I was very sad for a little while, and then at some point I realized I'm 21 and in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
go
I'm
for it.
single.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I started going to clubs. Jenks, Seaside,
Mhm.
Belmar,
Mhm.
with my other single friends.
Yes.
And it was
That's
so fun. That's
what I
all
did
we
too.
did.
That's what I did.
Thursday through Sunday night.
Thursday through Sunday.
And we just partied like rock stars.
Thursday
And
through
I was
Sunday.
so lucky that Patty lived in Hoboken.
Oh, nice. You got that too.
So we
That's
would go to
perfect.
Hoboken for the weekend. Like
Mhm.
I was so lucky. We had the best. I had the best 4 years before then starting to date Eric.
Mm-hmm.
It was just incredibly fun.
I must
So,
say
a
it was
lot of
it
oats.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How old were you when you met Jamie?
I think I was 24, 25, maybe 25. Yeah. Maybe 25.
And did you meet in
Or
Seaside?
26.
You met in Seaside.
Through a mutual
He
friend.
was from North Jersey.
I can't imagine Jamie in Seaside.
I can.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
can't.
this was me.
Oh, well, I know who you are.
I used to go out with a bunch of friends and I would go to all these different, clubs. But then I would also go out. I usually had a bunch of guy friends. And I would go out with my girlfriends, but then I would go out with my guy friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had 2 guys. They were from Brick. I can't remember the last name. They were someone that my mother worked with. They were her sons.
Okay.
But I used to go out with them and their friends, and we would go to like the Elks in Brick, like just kooky fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, I used to go to different venues with my husband and his friends, some of his friends. But so we were friends before we dated.
Oh,
We
okay.
were friends before we dated. Yeah.
Okay.
But I used to have so much fun going out with just a bunch of guys.
And you went out in Seaside, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it was definitely a lot of fun. I kept myself very thin because I danced.
Exactly.
I have to say that from a Thursday to a Sunday, I had probably danced about 8 to 10 hours of
And,
dancing.
Like, I lived at home. My parents were still married. I lived at home. My mother did my laundry.
Mm-hmm.
My mother cooked my meals. I worked full time. I always, I worked for a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
And I would leave work. I would go right to the gym. Monday through Friday, I went to the gym. I worked out.
I've never gone to the gym.
Oh, when I tell you,
You were in
I
the best
was
shape
in the
of your
best
life. That's what
shape
you
of my
said.
life. I was.
Yep.
And then Thursday through Sunday, we'd, party
Yep.
like rock stars.
Party like rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
It was good times.
It was good times.
Very good times.
You?
So I was 23 when I met Bill, and he was 28. And when I met him, I was working at Banana Republic in Short Hills. I was the assistant manager at that time. Store manager. First, I was the assistant manager, then I was a store manager. So I'm not exactly sure of the timing there, but I was working up in Short Hills, and my girlfriend Geraldine and Pam, who you guys all know, lived down here, Lavalette and Brick.
And you live down here.
Well, when I met Bill, I actually had an apartment in Parlin that I met Bill on Halloween.
Yeah.
I moved home on November 1st to Bricktown.
Really?
Yes. Not many people know that. So I was going from Parlin to Short Hills, which isn't it's not that bad. Do you know where Parlin is? It's like part of it's like by Old Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
so that's,
yeah. It's not
still
as, it's
a
not
ride,
as,
but
it's
it's
not
not
as,
from
bi-
Brick.
it's like by Hunkabunka.
right.
Remember Hunkabunka?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I
By
used to
Hunkabunka.
go
So
there.
Male reviews.
Yeah, so it's like
I
by
used to go to
Hunkabunka.
Hunkabunka Ballroom.
Yeah.
So I had an apartment with my girlfriend Linda that I went to college with, and she was working in the city, and we had an apartment for a year in Parlin, and she decided she was going to move back home because she had a boyfriend at the time, and she was like, save her money.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, because I'm going to move back home too. So our lease ended on October 31st, and I met Bill on October 31st. I'd already moved all my stuff out, and I went out with Geraldine and Pam up in South Plainfield, where Bill is from. And really, the timing was perfect because I could stay over his house
Oh, right.
and go from his house to Short Hills,
Right.
as opposed to going back and forth to Brick every day.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I would, go to party down here, and then
Yeah.
I would go to work because I did work retail. So some nights I would close, some nights, I had all different crazy hours.
So did you go out in Seaside?
I went out-
like before you met Bill.
Yeah, I went out in Seaside. We went out at the place that's now the Crystal Point. I cannot remember what it was called.
Oh, that was
The mooring?
no. That
it
was
under just the bottom.
It was Pinocchio's, and then it was something
It
else.
was Pinocchio's.
Yes.
And it was
Okay,
something
Crystal
else too.
Point was that? What the hell?
It was only the bottom, though.
It was
not
only the
top.
bottom.
It was
Yeah.
only the bottom.
Right.
Right, but it was two different places.
Yeah, and I don't remember what it was called.
I used to go there with my brother, and I used to go there with my other friend Denise.
But I'll be honest with you. I mean, even after I went...
Richards.
Richards.
Richard.
Where did you pull that out
I
of?
don't know.
That's good. So even after I met Bill, we still went out. Like Bill was 28.
Yeah.
He was
so he
done-
was beyond that.
He was done
Yep.
with that scene, and I was 23. I still wasn't done with that scene. So I would still go out,
Mhm.
and he would come down on the weekends, but we would make it work. I would still go out and hang
Yeah.
out and party and have a good time with
Yeah.
with the girls.
That's one thing that I wish I would have done or been able to do was live on my own before I got married. Because I lived home. I lived
Mhm.
home till I got married.
I
I
never
mean,
lived
I
on my
had-
own.
I had no problem living with my parents. My parents had no problem me living with them.
Right.
Like it was just
I didn't have a
absolutely
problem
fine.
living with my parents either. It was just the logistics of it because,
Right.
I mean, at that point I was working at Short Hills. I mean, at one point, I was working in Brooklyn. I was commuting from Bricktown to Brooklyn. I went to school in college. I went to college in Manhattan, and I
Right.
lived in Manhattan for 3 months, and I just couldn't afford it.
Right.
I couldn't afford it. So then I moved home to Bricktown again, and then I'm commuting from Bricktown to Manhattan to go to school.
Yeah.
And then I was working full time at the Gap as assistant manager. So I'd get up early in the morning, get to Manhattan, go to school. I had morning classes. I'd be done by noon. Then from there, I'd go right to the Seaview Square Mall because that's where I worked at the Gap at the Seaview Square Mall. I would close the store, go home, go to sleep, get up and do the same thing all over again. Like and then in between that, like once I turned 21, then I would do all that and party in between. Like there was no like, oh, I'm too tired or I'm hungover.
No,
You just rallied.
did it.
You just rallied and you went.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And you know,
All right,
honestly,
so-
I'm still doing that today. Right now,
I hear you.
as we speak.
We're rallying.
I still rally.
Okay. So now, fast forward, you meet your person.
Yep.
What was life like when you first got married before you had children?
Yeah, I was married for 3 years before I had
So we
my
got
child.
married in 98 and we had William in 2002, but we had already dated for 7 years before we got married.
Right.
So, you know, we had a lot of free time. We did a lot of traveling. We would go to the Keys every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Bill would be able to take off a month or so from work because of his job. He had a lot of time off. And I was working, at that point, I wasn't working retail anymore. After, you know, I was done with retail. I was working I had an ice cream parlor. So I had an ice cream parlor. I would close in the winter. So I had time off too.
Right.
And then I was out doing outside sales. And my boss would allow me to, you know, just take off the time I needed to take off. And we would go away for a month at a time.
Well, nice.
And we would go down and enjoy ourselves. Like, you know.
Yeah, we did a lot of traveling. We definitely did a lot of traveling. And we did, you know, we had just moved into our house. So we kind of did some stuff around our house.
We were only married a year when I got pregnant with Tess.
Really?
Yeah, so we got married in November of 2001 and Tess was born in November of 2003.
Oh, nice.
So we were basically married for a year.
And then had her.
And then a year later, Tess was born. But we, you know, Eric loves Atlantic City, Avi.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent a lot of time down there. We took a trip to Miami. Like we didn't travel as much as we probably should have, but we also bought the house. So we were working on the house, doing what we could.
Yeah.
And we were both commuting to Princeton from Brick. He worked at Princeton University. I worked at ETS, which didn't make a lot of sense. And, you know, in hindsight, we should have moved out there, but we didn't. I felt like I wanted to be close to my family.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
And it just worked out that way. But we had a lot of fun. And I think, well, we'll get to this, but I feel like when we had our first child, I had postpartum depression. And I think that was part of it. Like Eric and I really had so much fun. And I thought in my head, like, that's it. Like we can't do those things.
Can't have fun anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's postpartum depression. So it's a whole chemical imbalance thing.
For
it's not
sure.
like,
I
you know,
didn't understand it
Right,
when it
at
was
the time.
going on.
Right.
But yeah. So then we had Tessie Poo and she was the best baby ever and I stand by it.
Nice. Nice.
And life was beautiful.
Nice.
And I had fertility issues, which is why we were married for so long and I didn't
Oh,
have.
right. So it was like 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. And like I said, we had been dating. So I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So we had to go to a fertility doctor for William and Andrew, and we had to do in utero insemination, IUI. And for whatever reasons, because it's, you know, God's plan, both of them worked first time.
Wow.
Which
Nice.
is really not heard of.
Right.
I mean, that's actually how Lala got pregnant.
Right.
IUI, she did in utero insemination.
Yeah.
So, you know, it worked out for us. And
I
then,
feel like every time Eric and I were like, should we try? I was pregnant. That's why we only said it 2 times.
Right. There you go.
And I got my tubes tied.
Yeah. No, it took me about a good 8 months
Mm-hmm.
to get pregnant. So, what was life like when you added more kids to the fam?
Well, for me, you didn't realize how easy one was until you had 2.
Right.
So when you had 1 and you had all the stuff and the car seat and the stroller, like just to go to the grocery store, you're like, ugh, I don't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then mine are 22 months apart. My two oldest ones are 22 months apart. So now you have a 22-month-old and an infant. One was really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had no idea until you had two. By the time the third one came around, and like I said, William and Andrew were IUI, and then Matthew just came. And I was 39 years old when Matthew just came. So
Right.
all of my pregnancies were geriatric. 35 and older is considered geriatric. I was high risk.
God, that's such a harsh word to
It is a
use.
harsh word. It
It's
is
a harsh word.
It is a harsh word. And I will never forget because we had moved into this house when Andrew was 1 because our other house was too small.
Right.
And we had a garage sale shortly after we moved in, and I was selling all the baby stuff. I was selling the baby tub, the high chair. I was going to sell everything.
Right.
And nothing sold. Nothing sold. And then all of a sudden, I was pregnant. I was like, oh, he knew.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
needed
there
it
you
all.
go. You needed it all.
I
Yep.
needed it all. And then 3 was just like, ugh, what, you know. At that point, by the time you have your third, it doesn't like. 3
It's
is-
all chaos
3
anyway,
is
so it
easier
doesn't
than
matter.
2. Like, believe it or not, 3 is easier than 2 because you've already done all the juggling.
Well, at least Will and Andrew had each other to occupy, each other.
Well, it's, it wasn't really that way, but it's like you care less.
Right.
There's less important things.
Right.
Like,
right.
Right. Like, it's just different. So the first one, like William, I was always like, William was that kid that didn't want to miss anything. He had FOMO. So he would never go to sleep. Like, that's William. William was FOMO, right?
Right.
And we lived in a little tiny house. So William would never go to sleep and whatever. So I stayed up with William. Then Andrew, because we lived in a little tiny house, my house was 900 square feet with 2 bedrooms. And I was working at the time, but so was Bill. But he was commuting back and forth to the city. And I didn't want Andrew crying and waking up the whole house. So
Right.
I would stay up all night with Andrew. I literally would stay up all night with Andrew so he wouldn't cry and wake up anybody else in the house. I am convinced because Andrew wound up having a flat head and I had to get him a helmet. I am convinced it was because he spent his entire first year
for
on my
sure.
arm. Like I would sleep, he would fall asleep
Yeah.
in my arm, and because I didn't want, I didn't want to wake anybody up. Then once we moved in here, I was like, oh no, like it's big enough. I have an upstairs and a downstairs. He can cry it out, and it just turns out that Andrew's that kid. He does not have FOMO. When he's tired, he's going to bed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that because I didn't have the ability to figure that out.
Right.
Because
And
you're
then-
just going off of Will.
I was going off of Will, right?
Right.
And then by the time Matthew came, I was like, yeah, no, you're going there. I'm shutting the door. You can cry all you want.
Yep.
Because I got my schedule. We're gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
So, you live and you learn
You live
with
and you learn,
kids.
yeah.
I remember I hosted Christmas and Tess must have been, 2. Yeah, she probably just turned 2. And I was like, she's so good. Like, I could totally do this again. And then Eric and I talked about it and decided to have another one. And we were always
then
good
your,
with 2.
Then your neighbor came over from across the street and said,
Lori was like, are you out of your fucking mind? We always said 2, whether it was 2 boys, 2 girls, boy, girl, it didn't matter. We always said 2. And then I got pregnant with Joe. And then Joe came, and Joe was so different. Like, I'm sure you guys remember. Well, wait.
Oh, I
yeah, no, you
remember.
were here
Yeah.
by then.
I remember.
He, I nursed him in the
He
hospital. Everything
projectile
was
vomited.
fine.
He
I
had
bring
all
him
those
home.
issues, yeah.
Every time I gave him a bottle, he threw it up. And I mean, when I say he threw it up, that shit shot out of his mouth and went across the room. I never saw anything like it in my life. And my pediatrician was on vacation that week. He was 2 weeks old. I saw every other pediatrician except Dr. Matei. I changed his formula, everything. As soon as Dr. Matei came back, he felt his stomach. He said he has pyloric stenosis. You have to bring him. This was in the middle of the day. You have to bring him to Jersey Shore. He needs surgery. Now, meanwhile, he was so dehydrated. He looked like a sick bird. You know that?
Soft spot was sunken.
Yep. So I call Eric at work, and Eric was like, fuck that. If he needs surgery, we're going to CHOP. So I go back into the doctor. I said to Dr. Matei, Eric wants to go to CHOP. He said, if I thought you needed to go to CHOP,
I
I
would have told
would
you to go to
send
CHOP.
you to CHOP. You need to get this kid to Jersey Shore. This doctor does hundreds of these surgeries a year. He's one of 2 guys in the state that does the surgery. Anyway, we went to Jersey Shore. I dropped Tess off at Terry's. Thank God Terry was on vacation that week. I was basically like, I don't know when I'm coming back.
Right.
Right.
And I got him to Jersey Shore. Eric met me there, and I totally had my Shirley MacLaine moment from Terms of Endearment.
Wire
Because-
hangers?
No,
That's
give,
Mommy
give my
Dearest.
daughter
Oh, Mommy
give,
Dearest.
give my
That's
daughter
right.
the medicine.
Oh, okay.
Because we were there for like 2 hours and they hadn't given him an IV yet. I'm like, I'm watching my son like he's like a sick bird.
Shriveling
He's
like a
turning
raisin.
fucking blue.
Why were they
Give
not
him a
giving him?
fucking IV.
What was taking them so long?
Who the fuck knows? I mean, it's the hospital. You can't,
Well,
So that's how Joe entered the world, and it's pretty much been the same way ever since.
There you go.
These kids.
What's life like now that your kids are older?
My-
I'm because I have the oldest.
You do.
You do have the oldest.
I have the oldest. So I am definitely at the point where I'm kind of on strike. Kind of on strike from the whole kind of, I'm like, you know what?
You've done your job.
I've done my job with
Fly, little birdie, fly.
my
Yeah.
husband,
Yeah.
my daughter, the whole Megillah.
Yeah.
I've done it, and now I'm starting to now that I've moved past some kind of losses that I've had and some challenges, but now I'm really starting to feel like I can do this next chapter, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
So that's kind of nice.
Do you have any idea what it's going to be?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I do not.
That's
And-
okay.
And I, I'm a creative person. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants person. I'm a make it up as you go person. But definitely the older that I have become, I have learned to do without a lot of things in order to do the things that how I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely am a person who believes that my life is going to come to me how it's supposed to come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been taking some time for myself to get myself kind of back in order. And I feel like I'm kind of getting there.
Yeah.
Starting to do some things that are more for me. Get my own headspace kind of cleared out. And then we shall see.
I think that's what's important. So that's why we end on this question, because now our kids are older. I mean, our youngest are 16.
Right.
So clearly they still need us,
Right.
but they also should be finding their independence because, 18's right around the corner. You have to be responsible. There's a lot that comes with that, furthering your education, driving.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the point that I have come to and that I have found is that, yes, that's important, but what's even more important is for you to start stepping out of that role of caretaker and
Right.
more into the role of you.
Of course, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because
we can't just be like, all right, peace out.
No,
They're
no,
16.
no.
But we do have to break off a little bit.
Yeah.
But, we have challenges, obviously. So
Mhm.
it's difficult to step back sometimes. But,
Yeah.
we need to start taking steps towards that for sure. Listen, even Tess at 20, like,
Oh no! Listen, hey,
she's like,
Mine's
she woke up the
24
other day and said her
and-
throat hurt. I'm like, okay, let me call and see if I can get you an appointment.
please.
Like, she's 20.
no. I believe me. I'm not over here talking smack like I don't do shit for my kid because I
Right,
do.
but,
This is. We all have children who have certain challenges.
Sure.
So, sometimes you do more than you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't do enough or
And
whatever.
I totally do it because that's what my mother did for me.
Right.
I totally do it because that's what my mother did for me.
Right.
But
No, it's at a crossroads. But you guys have a little,
Well,
like I said, I have those couple of years.
yeah,
you're ahead of us.
right.
A little bit. Not as much as you would think because we've had challenges.
Sure.
But still, it's at a different,
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys what I found, and this is through therapy, is that setting boundaries is really important and sticking to your boundaries.
That's my problem. I don't stick to my
I will set a boundary. I will stick to my boundary because I'm important. And I learned this many years ago at Weight Watchers. If my glass isn't full, I can't help anybody else.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you. I do things for myself. I do. I have a membership at Hand and Stone. I get up and I go to work every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I get my nails done once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I get my hair done whenever I want to.
Mm-hmm.
We just found this new thing called restorative yoga.
Mm-hmm.
We went on Wednesday together.
All of us.
All of us went.
I want to ask you a question. How did you sleep?
I mean, I always sleep well.
You always
I
sleep.
do
See,
too.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie.
by the
I don't sleep well at
well,
all.
I'm
and I
Did you
exhausted.
that night?
I did sleep a little better.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have a
Good.
lot of problems sleeping.
It's called Pure Yoga in Toms River,
Yes.
and we really enjoyed it. Wendy, that was your second time,
It was my second time. Yeah.
and Lori and I was our first time.
Mhm.
But we
Not gonna
really
lie, I was
enjoyed
a little
it.
sore the next day.
Oh, I wasn't sore.
Oh,
I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't doing it right.
No, you're not. I mean, she even said, like, don't, if it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. Like, you
Right.
shouldn't be pushing yourself past your.
Yeah, like I was a little nervous because I had never gone for a yoga class before. I used to do Pilates, but it was very easy to follow.
I like the fact that we were on the floor most of the time.
Yeah. It's,
I mean,
it's fun to be on the
sure.
floor.
That's
for
my
sure.
kind of
Yeah,
mental
that's-
health thing.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fun to be on the floor.
I mean, there's
Yeah, I like it.
blankets involved.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
bolsters.
Pillows,
There's
yeah.
The
pillows.
lights
for
are
sure.
dimmed.
Yes.
I
There's
mean,
cool music.
yes.
No one's talking to you. No one's asking you for nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, my one that has the boundary issues wanted to come with me, and he would have actually enjoyed it. But
Yeah,
this
but
is
no,
my
it's-
time.
No.
You're not. I
Yeah.
set my boundaries. I
Right.
set my boundaries. You go do you. This
Yep.
is my time.
Yep.
This is my time, and I'm firm on that. I am firm on my time.
Yeah. No, I think we're all at the point where we have to we have to do that. We have to take time for ourselves. So that was the one. So I definitely wanted to mention Pure Yoga because I thought
Definitely.
that was great. And then the other thing was my boss's wife, who finally is starting her business. She is calling it Hunch,
Okay.
and it's the emotion clearing.
Okay.
And that I
When's she
can't-
coming over?
we're gonna set it up, but it's just very. I just feel like it's very important. It's very valuable because I'm a talker, obviously, and I will share whatever I have to share with people. But she mentions things, emotions. She muscle tests is what it is, and then she mentions an emotion, and she gives you an age, so you can totally identify it.
What do you
And
mean?
Like she'll say, like, I'm seeing that you locked the emotion anxiety at
Oh.
age 13.
Right.
And I know exactly what she's talking about.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost, I would imagine it's almost like a form of therapy because,
Absolutely.
she's giving you something and you're equating it to something. So therefore, you're going to think about it, discuss it, and then you're going to sweep it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So those were the two things I wanted to mention. Obviously, therapy.
I mean, self-care and therapy.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to do either of those things. Like it's not weak to ask for help.
No.
And it's not weak to talk things out. And it's not weak to get advice. It's actually strong.
Yes.
And anyone that really asks for help and wants the help, I think it's courageous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just trying to convince a friend of ours to go, talk with somebody. She's going through a lot. And like what I said was, to her, I said, it's not like you're going to go and the therapist is going to say, oh, you need to do A, B, C, D.
Nope.
It's more about how you think about the conversation that you had afterwards in your own mind and the conclusions that you come to yourself. And that's how you make the progress.
And identifying an emotion. You have to identify an emotion and then try to figure out how you got there.
Right.
But you have to be open to it.
Yes.
And you have to also find the right therapist because
Oh, yeah.
that's important. I mean, I've had a couple
Absolutely.
different therapists, and honestly, they were both good for different reasons.
Right.
And just because one is good now, that might not be the one that you need later on in life. So it's okay to change therapists and change modalities because there's different ways to get to what you need to
do. Yeah.
whether it's
And there's all different stages, I believe, too. I mean, there's the stage after you're kind of, maybe you're not doing therapy as much, and then you're doing something else, or you're, listening to a podcast about self-help, or you're reading a book, or you're reading your Bible, or there's all different
Right.
ways to evolve as a person.
Right.
And sometimes I think people think, oh, well, I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to talk to somebody and tell them the whole.
Right.
But it's not just necessarily just about that. There's a lot of work that goes into
Yeah.
being the best person that you can be and accepting a lot of times who it is that you are. Because sometimes, look, everybody's got something fucked up.
Right.
So sometimes you just have to accept some of your fucked upness and then pick the things that you think that you can work on and work on them.
And once you say it out loud and release it, it's like it's gone. Like it's not gone, but
No.
it's
But that's
it's
why
a
you
burden.
said it.
It's a
Yeah.
burden off your
you
shoulders.
acknowledged it.
Yeah.
It's out there
Mm-hmm.
with your therapist,
Yeah.
confidentially, obviously. But once you say it,
Mhm.
it's easier to move past.
Mhm. That's why my friend and I started working on our vision boards, and we really do have to finish them. And part of the exercise is to, write down a couple things you really wish you would have done different, a couple things you're ashamed of, a couple things that you wish never happened,
Right.
and then you light them on fire.
Oh.
You write them down on a piece of paper, and you have almost like a little ceremony, and you burn that paper, and you let the ashes go off into the wind. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
another form of, like when you're in college, they tell you the best way to study is to see something, read it out loud, write it down,
Write it down. Yeah.
and
I have
then
to
listen
write it
to your
down.
own voice saying it.
Right.
So it's kind of almost like that kind of concept.
Right. But here's the takeaway. So you're sitting around a table and everybody puts their shit out on the table. You're going to take your shit back, right?
Real quick.
Yep.
100%.
Real
Yep.
quick. Well,
You're gonna take
listen,
all your problems back.
we heard the song the other night on the radio. Joy and pain, sunshine and rain.
Yep.
It's like I always say.
That was on the way home from our restorative
Yeah.
yoga.
Yep.
But it's
It was, yeah.
that's the poster child for the 50-50 aspect ratio that I'm always yapping about,
Mhm.
Right.
because that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be like that.
So this was the evolution of us.
The evolution of us,
Mm-hmm.
and it continues on.
It most certainly does.
It
It
most certainly
definitely does. So what are we
Okay.
ending with? What's our quote?
This was about a mom, being a mom. There is no way to be the perfect mother, but a million ways to be a good one.
Now, you could put that in the aspect of just being a good person.
And who
Yes, even
my
somebody-
eyes are very bad. I can't read who that was.
Jill Churchill.
Jill Churchill.
Is
Thank
it
you.
Winston's wife
Could be.
or
I
daughter?
don't know.
Could be.
Sister?
So there is.
I don't know.
I don't know. So there's no way to be a perfect person,
Right.
but a million ways to be a good one.
Right.
Same
And
thing about a
listen,
mother.
Just be
Right,
kind. Just
right.
be kind and do the best that you can do, right?
Yep.
We have good days and we have bad days. It
Yep.
happens to all of us.
And just accept the fact that you're going to mess up royally
A million times.
a million times.
Yep.
But it's inevitable.
Yep.
I said it again in CCD last night.
What?
Nobody,
No one cares.
No one cares what
middle
happened in
school
high school.
and high school
Yep,
are
nobody cares.
a blip on the radar.
Nobody
I know.
cares.
I said, make sure make sure academics is important, but when you go to your 10-year high school reunion, the only thing people are going to care about is how you treated them.
Yes, it's true.
Doesn't matter if you were popular or not.
It's
That all
true.
goes away. It's the day you graduate, that shit all goes away.
Poof.
Yep.
So
good luck to you.
Yeah.
I also believe in taking deep breaths. There's nothing more important than breathing,
Yeah.
especially when you're in the midst of something.
Yes.
Just stop
Yeah.
and just take a deep breath.
Mhm.
Just hold it.
We're also very, I've read up on this, we're also very conditioned to breathe very quickly and very shallowly.
Mm-hmm.
Your normal breathing pattern is not what it's supposed to be.
That was my biggest struggle the other night with the restorative
Was the
yoga.
breathing.
Yes.
Like holding it for so
Yes.
long.
And I struggled taking a deep,
deep
breath.
breath.
And I don't know if that's because I've been a smoker most of my life.
I mean,
It could be some of that, but it's also
it's not how we
It's-
live our lives.
Yeah.
And it's
No.
so much. You get so much from a deep breath. It's
Mhm.
amazing. Just breathing the right way.
so. To help you with that, if you'd like, when you're going to sleep at night, try and listen to
I do. Jason Stevenson.
Jason Stevenson.
I do.
Because when you do that meditation, you can get used to that.
Right.
You
I don't know who this Jason Stevenson
Oh,
is.
he's so good.
Yeah.
Lori
It's
told me about him a
it's on
couple of years
YouTube.
ago.
Can
Yeah.
we put a link in our
Yeah.
Sure.
podcast?
Yeah. So he
They're
just
meditation, but
meditation
it's to put you
videos.
to sleep.
He's
I'm
all different
telling you,
ones.
it takes me less than 10 minutes to fall asleep
Well,
when I listen to him.
I don't have any problems. Honestly, I do not have any problems falling
That's good.
asleep because I literally get up Monday through Friday at 5:15 every
Ooh,
morning.
Really?
5:15 every morning, Monday through
my
Friday.
goodness gracious.
And my
What
head
time do you go to sleep?
my head does not hit the pillow until at least 11. I get, and when I tell you I'm asleep, I am asleep. I'm asleep.
It makes me absolutely insane because it takes me hour, 2.5 hours to fall asleep. And my husband gets in that bed and I am not lying 5 minutes and
That's- yeah.
he's
That's
gone.
Eric and Joe.
But
Eric
I'm
God.
exhausted.
Joe.
I'm
Head hits the
exhausted.
pillow, they're out.
I'm exhausted mentally and physically
Mhm.
by the time I get to bed. The only time I really like my weekends are my time to kind of try and recharge.
up.
To just recharge. Like if
Yes.
I can spend a day on the weekend
Yeah.
just in my pajamas the entire
day. Yep.
and just locked in my room for a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll tell you, Bill will be like, come on downstairs. I'm like, no,
No.
Right.
no, this is my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, come on, eat. You gotta eat breakfast. I don't need to eat breakfast. I'm good.
Right.
I don't need food. Really.
All I need to do is be in here.
I just need
Yeah.
to be in
myself.
here because this is when I recharge.
Yeah.
I recharge on the weekends alone.
Right.
Or I can go to the beach too and get some good deep breaths of
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
sea air. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than that either.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's coming.
Yeah, it is
The
coming.
beach is a good recharger.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Always
sure.
a good recharger.
Just listening to those waves.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's a meditation right
But
there.
that's part of like some of the Jason Stevenson's he has the ocean going in the
Does he?
background.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
So-
good.
So it works on, breathing skills,
Yeah.
visualization.
Yeah.
So even if you don't use it to go to sleep, it's always good to
It's
To
really good for
reset.
that,
to
but yeah.
reset.
to
yeah.
reset. And that's why I want you guys to go. I really hope we can get Kim when we go to the restorative because Ashley was good, but just Kim was so much better for me. And you
Right.
you guys may like Ashley
I
better.
liked her. I definitely liked
Yeah.
Ashley. Yeah.
But for me, it was just her voice, her tone, the words she was saying, just it hit me right. And,
Right.
everyone's different.
Right.
Everyone's different. So,
Well, I have a fun thing that I'm going to try and do this week because my friend's coming from Florida. And I bought a thing on Groupon. And I bought it because a friend of mine told me about a place that she goes. It's in Edison. And it's a Korean day spa.
mm-hmm.
And you go for the whole day. and they have a salt room, they have a sauna,
I
they
wanna
have
do
a
a salt
pool,
room.
I've done a salt room.
and
Done it a couple times actually.
There's a place across from the salon. Okay, go ahead.
and then they have this thing where you go in. It's not private, but you go in and they give you a whole entire body salt scrub on a table and like
Do they beat you with leaves?
scrub you and
Real
pour
Housewives of New York.
and pour water over you and yeah,
What
I'm
do you-
gonna get that.
I want to do that. What day are you
exfoliation.
going?
But the body scrub part, my friend told me, you're in a room with all the other women.
Do you have to be naked?
Yeah, and you're naked.
Well,
But
how
I
are you
don't
getting
care.
a body scrub with clothes on?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, you don't know these women. You're never going to see them
I
again.
don't care. I don't care.
I
want
have
this-
to think about it.
All scrubbed up. I want it all scrubbed up.
Wait, let's just back up 1 second.
What?
So you're getting a Korean body scrub. What? You're getting a sauna. You're getting a
Yeah.
salt room. What else you getting?
You go there for the whole day. They have a cafe.
They
How much
feed
is a
you?
Groupon?
You could buy your lunch. You
How
so
much
you
is the
walk
Groupon?
around in the robe all day and you stay there all
Do
day.
they have
You
plus size
swim.
robes? Are we all wearing those damn little gowns like when you go to the doctor and they give you this thing and you can't close it?
They can't close to the front. I don't know.
Can I bring my own robe?
You almost, she just was spitting it out.
No, I think they give you like
Can you bring your own robe?
shorts and a t-shirt or something. They give you.
Wait, why? Are we like in jail? Can we like?
Is it orange?
Orange is the new black. I don't know what the Korean people wear at the place. So whatever it is, I'll wear it. I don't care. I'm going there all day and I don't have to talk to anybody.
How much is the Groupon?
I'm looking.
Damn
And
it!
why didn't you tell us about
Yeah,
it,
we
Laura?
would have taken a day off. Now I'm mad.
Me too. I was in such a good place with the evolution.
So get the Groupon. I'll go again.
Oh, we can't go with you and your friend?
Yeah, come on. You got to
I'm
take a
only
day off
kidding.
work though.
I'm only kidding.
All right. Island spa and sauna. Let's see. Does it tell me what I got? View voucher. No. View voucher.
View receipt. How much did you pay?
I'm looking.
She doesn't even know.
Groupon price $36.
Get the
Stop
fuck
it.
out of here.
Yeah,
What the hell's a regular price?
45.
What?
Yeah,
I'll go and pay full price then.
yeah. Isn't that good?
Wait,
All right, tomorrow
we're
we're
gonna
setting
look it
this
up.
up.
we are.
Yeah, doesn't look like fun.
Send us the
Yes.
damn link.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to be naked in a room with other people. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not feeling my summer bath.
then don't get your salt scrub.
I share it every year, that meme of that little girl who's beautiful, a little chunky, but she said, what'd she say?
I don't know.
Something, and then she said, I'm a be thick this year, this summer. I'm gonna be thick this summer. I share it every year.
That's all right.
Mind your business, something like that.
Yeah, something about that. Yeah.
But I'll do it for
All right.
$45.
I'll do it for $45 too.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Now, I think the salt scrub, there's something that's extra.
we're gonna look it up.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna look it up.
Look it up. Yeah. But
We're
it's
gonna
not
check it out.
far
I
to
may bring
go.
my own robe.
And you can
I
go for the
definitely
whole
bring my
day.
own robe. I don't need to be embarrassed on top of being naked in the room with strangers. Oh, by the way, and the robe didn't fit.
Well, I know that my friend went with her daughter one time, and she was able to get a private scrub.
Oh,
So I
I'll
don't
pay
know.
$10. I'll pay an extra $10.
You know, it's extra.
At this point, I don't even know if I want the private scrub.
Okay. Just, no one's scrubbing you. All right, I got you.
No, I want the scrub. At this point, I think I might want it to be out in the open. I don't know
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay. We'll figure it out. All right.
Thank you for watching and listening to We Why Whenever.
We took a turn.
We definitely
We took a
turn.
hard left.
Sorry.
I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Laura.
Good night.
Good night.